Oh, man. Talk about bad timing. Uh, if you didn't see my Bound for Glory review, there was a bit at the end where Smokey from OTRS showed up trying to start some stuff as only Smokey can. And I did what I did and dealt with him. And at the time when I made that video, I just thought it would be, a fun way to end on, and hopefully it would entertain some people, and that would be it. I didn't really intend it to be anything more than that. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to me, this coincided with Smokey's real-life untimely passing. So, I really want to apologize to lei'd. It was never my intention to rub salt in that wound. Something you should know about me, I don't do attack videos. I don't try to bash people for feeling a certain way, or just try to piss people off just because I can. That's not me. I mean, that's infantile stuff. I try to be a better person than that. And I know what it's like to lose pets, too. It's no fun, because you get really attached to pets. I know lei'd was really attached to Smokey. I know they were really close. When I was a little kid, we had a cat. True story, she was actually left on our doorstep by someone, and we took her in, and we had her for a couple of years until she got sick and ran away. Well, she ran away. That was the story my parents gave me, when in fact something else happened. And later on we had a dog, Jake, and we had him for 11 years, and Jake was my best friend in the world. I still miss him every day, and he got cancer while I was away at college, and he got put to sleep, and I never got to say goodbye to him. So I was really upset over that. I cried for a couple of days over that. So I know what it's like. I know it hurts when your pets die on you. So, yeah, I'm really sorry, lei'd. I never meant to upset anyone, and I hope I didn't. But I just wanted to come on here and say that, because pets dying is no fun. I'm a big lover of animals myself. I kind of like animals more than people a lot of the time. And people I'm not so good with, but cats and dogs, that's rough. So, I just wanted to say that. Put that out there. So, once again, lei'd, very sorry. I will miss Smokey too. He was very entertaining in the OTRS videos, and a worthy opponent for myself. So, yeah. Just wanted to say that, and now, on with the show. This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and the next time the bromance tried to hold a celebration, Candice LeRae will jump out of the crowd and ballplex Robbie so hard that he will never be able to reproduce. After I uploaded my Bound for Glory review a couple days ago, I spent a while wondering if I'd been too harsh, if maybe I wasn't giving them enough credit, and the show wasn't as underwhelming as I felt it was. So I thought about that for a while, let that stew in my brain for a day or two, and no, I stand by what I said. That was not a good culmination pay-per-view in my opinion. So needless to say, I was not incredibly optimistic going into Impact Thursday night. But holy shitballs, what a surprise this was. Leave it to TNA to come out of what was, in my opinion, their most lackluster, underwhelming big show of the year, and follow it up with one of their best impacts of the year. And shout out to Salt Lake City, those fans brought it. And damn, they should have had Bound for Glory in that arena. Completely blew that San Diego crowd away. And it probably helped that they had so many good things to react to. I'm not sure what happened here exactly, but something about this Impact felt different. Maybe it was the lack of Aces of 8's melodrama. Maybe it was the fact that Hogan was nowhere to be seen. Maybe it was the feeling that they're finally moving in a much-needed new direction after the old one needed to be taken out behind the barn and put out of its misery. I don't know what it was, but this show felt refreshing. It felt more focused. As if all the baggage, all the clutter that weighed down all the storylines up to and including Bound for Glory had been brushed aside. This, not Bound for Glory, but this, felt like the starting point of a new direction. And thankfully, they hit the ground running. The show starts, and the first thing I noticed, the walkway is gone. Yes. 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 Thank you, TNA. I never liked that thing. It takes up way too much space at ringside, it hinders the spots the X Division guys can do, and generally, it's just not needed. Take that thing away and the set instantly looks better. So, as is tradition, the Bound for Glory Fallout show starts off with Promo Palooza. I don't know why this seems to happen every year, but I enjoyed this because they finally closed the chapter on a bunch of stuff, which means they're finally free to pull the trigger on this heel Dixie angle without having to worry about, you know, all that pesky, unrelated Bound for Glory build-up they should have been focusing on. And with all that out of the way now, I'm finally free to enjoy this angle for what it is. You know, they have this opener with Dixie trying to placate AJ into signing a new contract and not walking out with the world title. Dixie is very good here. I still think she tries to cover too much information too fast, but she's gotten really over as a heel really quickly, so you can't argue with results. AJ Styles was better than usual here as well. Bully Ray comes out and they make a rematch for that night, and some people were probably pissed off about this if they paid to see that match on Sunday. I understand that. Personally, I was fine with it. It was a regular match this time, so you weren't getting the exact same thing again, and it's not like they overused the no DQ gimmick or anything. And I looked at it as them choosing not to deliberate this, just getting Bully's title rematch out of the way immediately so we can all just move on. And I think it was a very good decision. You know, among other things, one of the issues that's been hindering the product lately was that a lot of the storylines just didn't progress fast enough. Reference Aces and Eights. Had this happened when Pritchard was running creative, they probably would have dragged this out for another couple of weeks and had the rematch at Turning Point or something. You know, this is much better. We needed a fresh start, and for that to happen, we needed to tie up this loose end. Bully attacks AJ, Anderson returns and makes the save in a great moment. That was cool. I'm glad they were able to re-sign Anderson. He was doing some great work when his contract ran out, and hopefully we'll get more of that Anderson now and less of the guy we've been seeing for the last year or so. So it's at this point that they go to the first commercial break of the night. I look at the clock, and holy shit, we're already 25 minutes into the show. And by the time Anderson got taken away in handcuffs, something like 35 or 40 minutes had gone by. That was a long damn opening segment, but it didn't feel like it. You know, they weren't just stalling here or talking just to talk like you see on Raw a lot of the time. They were giving important information, setting up the new status quo, the promos were all really good. It was a hell of a long time to spend on one segment, but I was never bored with it. Our first actual match of the night is a Knockouts tag match with Brooke and Gail with Lady Tapa versus ODB and Velvet. First impression, holy gods, that's our entire active Knockout roster in this segment, and there's only 5 of them. They need more talent in this division, and they need it right freaking now. The match is kind of short, but it's pretty decent for what it is. Tapa kicks Velvet's head off when the ref's not looking, and the heels get the win. Really just a way to establish what Tapa's role is going to be, and I think they're being really smart about this. She's really green still, so instead of pushing her too much too soon and probably exposing her, they take the slow burn approach. They're giving her a presence, but keeping her involvement minimal. But when she does something, it has an impact. All she did here was one move, kicking Velvet in the head, and that was enough. And it won them the match. It's a minimalistic approach to building her up, but I think that's the way to go because you can protect her this way until she polishes off her wrestling. And working with Gail should speed up that process. The problem is now, who the hell does Gail feud with in the meantime? I mean, ODB's got a rematch, I'm assuming. I guess they can buy some time with that. But Gail versus ODB couldn't be more played out. That horse has been beaten to death, sent to the glue factory. It's very, very old. Same thing with Velvet. And Brooke's a heel, so that doesn't work. I mean, Gail's got 0 fresh opponents left. So what the hell are they going to do in 2 months? I mean, none of this stuff with Gail and Tapa means much if they don't have a compelling challenger. I don't think the Blossom Twins fit this particular bill. They brought in Candice LeRae for a tryout. She worked a second one before Bound for Glory. I wouldn't say no to her right now. Candice LeRae seems like the best option out of the girls they're looking at. No time like the present, TNA. I'm just saying. Yes! Wow, that Sting and Magnus angle did not follow up the way I thought it would. They have this pre-tape where Magnus apologizes for the way he acted post-match at BFG, not showing Sting the proper respect, and he sounded sincere about it. So I thought they were going with a Magnus heel turn here, and I guess they still might, but maybe not. I hope they're not. Maybe they've got something else in mind. Instead, you've got Sting reflecting on the situation and being kind of surprised that Magnus beat him. If anything, this seemed to subtly hint at a Sting heel turn, and I don't think that'll happen, first of all, but it seemed like in the back of Sting's mind, he's not too happy that he lost. So I don't think these two are done with each other yet, and I'm fine with that as long as Magnus doesn't turn heel, because the timing is just not right for that. Oh wow, this EC3 thing went over so much better with me the second time. I wish this had been his real debut instead of Bound for Glory. On the Culmination pay-per-view it felt like filler. On free TV it just feels like a fun angle. He squashes Dewey Barnes here, and Barnes sold that finisher like $1 million and cuts a promo afterward, and I'm really liking this guy so far. Him being the stuck-up entitled punk and Dixie feeding him local comic relief jobbers. And these guys have been pretty funny too. It may get old before too long, but it's funny right now. And if they play their cards right, this guy is going to get over. If I could make one change to it though, they should have Dixie come out and personally announce him when he makes his entrance. And really hit the nepotism angle hard. Have her be like, the next great superstar of the wrestling business, the future of the industry, and in my nephew, Ethan Carter III. Really play up the spoiled rich kid thing. Dixie's been getting a ton of heel heat, so have him piggyback on that. This Kurt Angle Bobby Roode promo segment was great, with Angle trying to get a rematch and Roode getting out of it because Kurt's not cleared to wrestle. And there was nothing really out of the ordinary here, but both guys were very good on the mic, and I really liked how they tied it into their match 2 years ago and played it like Roode turned the tables on Angle. It was a really simple thing, but it made it look like they were on the same level. Bobby Roode came off looking like a star in this segment because now Angle's the one who has something to prove to him. Good stuff. In my Bound for Glory review, I noted that when it came to the bromance, we needed to distinguish between heel heat and hate heat, or get off my TV heat. And God bless you, Salt Lake City. You didn't let me down. Robbie and Jesse come out for their celebration. My God, even saying that makes me want to punch myself in the face. And Robbie barely gets 2 words out before the "You Can't Wrestle" chant starts. So, yeah, that answers that. Thankfully, Gunstorm come out before Robbie really gets started and threaten to go medieval on these jokers. Then Bad Influence come out and put both teams to shame on the mic. Eric Young, Joseph Park come out and everyone starts fighting, blah blah blah. The bromance is the tag team champions notwithstanding, and I still think that's completely ludicrous, by the way. I mean, they went from being the biggest jobbers on the roster, being made to look like a complete joke every single week, to suddenly being tag team champions, skipping every step in between. How are we supposed to buy into that? It's stupid.
I mean, after all this, you try so hard to convince people that you're a legitimate threat.
Nevertheless, this was probably the best use of the tag team division we've seen in a while. And for the last few months, all these teams have kind of been doing their own thing away from each other, until Bound for Glory, when they got thrown into a #1 contenders match with no real context. Here, effort was put into establishing some actual rivalries between these people. It sounds simple, and it is, but this is more than we were getting with the tag division before, so this was a nice step in the right direction here. Oh, and by the way, it did not go unnoticed by me that Los Stereotypicos never appeared during this segment. TNA, thank you.
You're welcome.
The main event was pretty good, including a really cringeworthy spot where AJ got thrown up high and dropped down, landing right on that bad rib. Oh my god, that must have hurt like a son of a bitch. Bully tries to cheat, Anderson returns to put a stop to that, and AJ wins. This seemed mainly designed to get Bully Ray's rematch out of the way and transition him into a feud with Anderson. Both things I am just fine with. No complaints. And the show ends with Dixie Carter confronting AJ again. More good promos here from these two, with her making one last-ditch effort to re-sign AJ to a contract, but he's not having it. He wipes his ass with the contract, that was a nice touch by the way, and he walks out of the company with the World Championship. Or rather, he drives off in the sports car that she tried to bribe him with. This was a really good way to end the show, and a great hook for next week. And yes, it's a lot like the Summer of Punk angle. In fact, it basically is the Summer of Punk angle. I'm not denying that. But remember, WWE botched that storyline by having Punk return to the company after like a week. When he came back that soon, the whole thing was ruined. This is TNA's opportunity to do a version of that angle, but do it right. Is it incredibly original? No. But you know what? Fuck it. If WWE was going to copy that AJ sex scandal nonsense and get away with it, I think this is fair game. Something I thought TNA did really well this week, something they've really struggled with in the past, was creating more of a spectacle. It might seem kind of meaningless, but having the ring decorated with all the AJ stuff and using the sports car as a prop added a lot to the show. You know, stuff like that, and even the DJ during the tag team segment can add a nice extra coat of paint to a segment because it makes it look like there's more going on here than just wrestling. You know, wrestling really isn't the draw that it used to be, so if you want to attract new viewers, a lot of the times you have to go outside the box. And at the very least, things like this can make the show look like it's offering more than just bare-bones wrestling. Hopefully they can continue to do stuff like this because it really does make a difference. I thought this was a terrific impact, one of the best of the year. While a lot of the ideas were recycled, they were at least executed well. They didn't spend time on the wrong people, like Garrett or Wes or any of those idiots. It looks like a lot of the crap that came along with previous storylines has been done away with, and the result was a much more refreshing show. This felt like a reset. And this product has needed one for a long time. I'm all for it. The heel Dixie thing, AJ leaving with the title, this is new stuff for TNA. In WWE, the heel authority figure is played out all to hell, but in TNA, this is something fresh right now. It's not more faction warfare, it's not another invasion angle or takeover angle. This finally feels like they're going out of their comfort zone a little bit. And thank God for that, because this product needed a change. I have to admit, a part of me was really nervous that they'd just fall back on all that old stuff, like we'd see 10 or 12 guys join up with Dixie, and it would be this huge schmoz where no one stands out, or there'd be some new heel faction trying to take over the company again, or some bullshit like that, and it would just be them rehashing the same tired old ideas over and over and over again. I mean, hell, that would be like if Fourth Dimension Fool Killer... Stop! Stop a show! Stop everything! I can't allow this pathetic masquerade to continue! Not now that I've learned the horrible truth! I've stayed silent for too long! I held my tongue at first because I didn't believe it myself, but it cannot be denied any longer! The leader of the Aces and Eights is that low-life son of a bitch right there! I'm back, bitches.